Good morning, everyone. Here we go to start another week with Judge's Jewels. Good morning, Judge. How are you, mate?
Yeah, fine, thanks, Si. How are you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, I'm all right. And Judge, you may not be able to see this at home, but he's actually attached to that wall. He's so if he were to move forward, the whole wall would fall over. Incredible, isn't it? The magic of YouTube. Yeah, I'm all right, mate. A bit talking point really was farcical scenes at Sandown yesterday. I had some friends who were there.
Game, do we really?
Yeah, I had some friends who were there. I mean, if this was your first time going racing, would you view it as a sport you'd want to come back and have another go? I'm not so sure.
It's just so unprofessional, isn't it? Really, just so much to say, really. Well, you're better off just calling it off in the first place. And you know the old story. They get a couple of races in, they haven't got to get a refund back, have they?
This is true. This is true. Carlisle's sadly washed out today, but you see, make the decision early.
Yeah.
7:30. You know, all right, some trains will have set off, but they can get back. Not only have a look at 12. If it's not raceable and there's more in forecast, call it off, which is what should have happened yesterday. But I'm just moaning and groaning. We've got some horses for you to get in the old tracker. And what do you think to that Breeders' Cup winner? He's a horse to follow, isn't he?
Yeah, he's gone straight to the sheds, funny enough. But yeah, what a winner that was. Yeah.
Such a shame he didn't stay in training. Look, I mean, I wonder what would tempt him to bring him over to Ascot, or you know.
Apparently, he was uninsurable. Apparently, because of obviously his value, which you can understand it, can't you? But it's such a shame when you want to see something again. But you've got to give it to the other also. They made a race of it, didn't they? They tried to make a race of it.
My old mate Irad Ortiz Jr., the fearless, yeah.
I mean, it does take two horses to make a race. I know the horse won easy, but if that had just plodded around, everyone would go, "Oh, is it a good horse or not?" At least we now know, don't we?
Yeah, and I watched an excellent piece from Jamie Reid yesterday on Sky, where he went through the fractions. Incredible, and that thing would have won me. Yeah, watch that back. Jamie Reid, very, very good, and Sean Boyce as well. And what he said was that the one that took him on early would have won the mile.
Really?
Would have won on the clock, would have won it, as would up Flightline. So incredible that they were going at that pace with another 2 furlongs left.
Absolutely, yeah.
Very scary stuff. Right, our eye catchers are not from there, though.
Definitely not, no.
Yeah, no. So kick us off, Judge. What's your first?
Well, I always like a couple of funny ones, but one horse really caught my eye at the start of the week. It's on Wednesday, and I believe it's one of your double dipper horses, which won quite comfortably. It was a novice hurdle at Chepstow on Wednesday. Let's have a look at what the time of the race was. It's a 1:52 at Chepstow. I think this is a good novice hurdle, especially for the time of year. There's some decent horses in this. Pembroke to Bramwell. There's a couple. I think Out of Office cost a few $100,000. So it wasn't a Mickey Mouse novice hurdle. And the Nichols horse got given about 3 or 4 length lead at the start. And to be fair, looks a 1:30 horse at least, I reckon. The way it won its first race, I think it's a nice horse. That'll be winning under a penalty, and at least better graded than that. I'd be surprised. But the horse that caught my eye was also called Bubble Dubby. It literally as they start, I nearly said as they come out the stalls. As they started, it was 15 lengths behind Tamuris before they'd even jumped the first hurdle. So I thought, well, that's been held up. And literally, if you watched its run through, it just crept into the race, turned into the long home straight at Chepstow. I think it jumped the last in about 7th. And he buried it between the second last and the last as well. And they jumped the last in 7th, and it got up to 2nd under a hand ride. I mean, I'd be amazed if it doesn't win a novice hurdle. But if they could get this horse handicap, they could have fun and games with this. This is a nice horse, and its bumper form was pretty useful as well. But Stuart Edmonds' horse, Bubble Dubby, I'd be amazed that doesn't win next time out probably. But it depends what their aims are, whether they can get this handicapped after 2 runs, or whether they just go straight down the novice hurdle route. But he's a nice horse. Good, and that race, you could take your pick. There'll be another couple in behind. That will throw up at least 3 or 4 winners, that novice hurdle. I'll be amazed.
I think it's one of the strongest novice hurdles run. And what's interesting is, and I completely understand where you're going with the Edmonds horse there, but what impressed me, I know that the owners of the Nickel horse think he's very, very good, was that he made his own run and he did nick a few lengths. But after the last, when Cobden for the first time got hold of him, he shot clear.
He did. I mean, he's useful, but I mean, like I say, if you watch the race back, I mean, you even Flightline wouldn't have wanted to give Life Is Good a 10-length head start, would it? So
no, and the thing is, you know, we're giving eye catchers. The Nichols thing's been flagged up now. The angle I had was that we had some info before, so we would get people on at 94 in the morning. You know, I mean, it looks a steal. But now that horse, everybody knows how good he is. He's going to be odds on probably.
Yeah, you'd be amazed if he's not running in a graded race. He certainly win over a penalty in a graded race, definitely.
I think they'll go to the trials day at Cheltenham.
Could well do. Yeah, he looks a nice prospect, definitely. But I think that race is a good, like I say, a good race. There's some eye catchers in behind, but you couldn't miss that one. That one, Mr. Magoo could have spotted.
Yeah. Now I've got two from Saturday's meeting at Aintree for various reasons. The first one was actually a horse that I tipped, and it ran in the 136, which was the Novices Limited Handicap Chase. There wasn't many runners in this, but I do think it was a good race. It was won by Dr. Ken, who was given a superb ride by Aidan Coleman, and ended up winning a shade cozily. Easy for me to say it. But the eye catcher for me was the second, Rioja, who was incredibly well backed. When you see Harry Fry horses getting, you know, they don't have many gambles in that yard, but when they do, they really do. They do put the money down, and I think they thought Rioja was a cert. The problem was, I know the horse is schooled. The word was electric, and he did jump great. However, the problem was he jumped out to the right at least 5 times. Now that trait has not shown itself at home when they're schooling him, but gun to the head, full pace. He was aggressively ridden. He's a galloper. He's not a turn of foot horse. He was just giving length after length after length to the pack. And Dr. Ken's a good horse. You're not going to be able to do it against good horses. In some rubbish novice chase, you know, Fontwell on a Monday, you'd probably get away with it because he's such a good prospect. No offense to Fontwell on a Monday. But the obvious thing is people will go, it was a big gamble, went down. I'm taking it that they really like this horse. Now, here's the thing. You ain't going to be seeing him left-handed again. I think that's a tens-on shot. He'll now go to somewhere like Sandown or Kempton, and probably in a decent race. And again, the whole point of this feature, I think he'll be too big a price because people will look at the bare result and say, maybe he's not as good as they think, got turned over, go right-handed, shouldn't be an issue. A stiff track, somewhere like Sandown will be perfect. He jumps so well. It's just, he gave too many lengths away by jumping out to the right. But do not give up on this horse. But there's a caveat. If they were to go back left-handed with him and give him another go, do not back him. So there's a very strict criteria. Right-handed, he's a play. Left-handed again, he's just going to... Horses tend to do the same thing that they did before. And it's all right saying we'll school him intensively, but it's highly likely if they run this horse left-handed again, he will do the same trick. So Rioja, but right-handed. That's my first one, Judge.
Funny thing was, the first two there, both running a novice hurdle last year at Aintree, believe it or not, behind Gelino Bello. They come second and third. And it's funny how that form's now tied up and worked out quite well. I mean, that looked a shocking winner at Weatherby, but he left loads to work on with Gelino Bello. I think they're all nice novices. And he actually had the race won at one stage, didn't he? As they come towards the last, he must have gone very short in the run, Rioja.
Yeah, he went about 5 on at one point.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He did look. I think they're two nice prospects, and like you say, I'd be amazed they don't win races. You know, more races. The two of them actually from that race. But yeah, good spot, mate. I like the way that jumped, but he did go that way a bit, didn't he? So.
And the course was that way.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, shall I go on to my second one?
Why not, mate?
Yeah, go to my second one. Well, you know that I've got a real fan base for Christian Williams horses, especially being plotted up for certain races come later on in the season. Well, the guy's a bit of a genius, really, because he tends to run the horses. They still get beat, but still pick up 5-6 grand for getting beat in some of the other races. And then when the day's the day, he manages to pop up. But I really like the run of Captain Orr behind your old boy Frodon. What a great horse he is! I've got to give that a little quick mention. Yeah. I mean, what an horse! What a great fun horse to have owned. If you know, to keep winning these top handicaps time after time, and then still pop in with the odd grain one now and again. I think the race was obviously a good race. You know, Frodon's won the race, but for me, I don't know if you saw. I was so relieved to find out Amarillo was all right, because it was a horrible fall at the water jump. It was a horrible
shocking,
fall.
Wasn't it? It was a shock.
In the backwash there, Captain Orr got badly hampered along with a couple of the others, and he still ran on into third. Now this horse, we're on about caveats. This horse does not want soft ground, so if it becomes soft to heavy, I won't be interested in him at all. He's got half decent form on it, but he does want like good to soft ground, and nearly all of his best form's got on sort of that kind of going. This horse won an 80 grand handicap at Kempton. I think it's the old Racing Post Chase last year.
Yeah. And
it beat Kitty's Light, who I put up last week or the week before, which is another Christian Williams horse. I would imagine they'd both target that race, but there's definitely a Saturday handicap in this horse now, Captain Orr, because he ran £2 out the handicap and still come third behind him. Like I say, behind Frodon, getting badly hampered. I think, let's say, the caveat with this is as long as it's good ground or good to soft ground on a Saturday, I can see this horse running very well in a valuable handicap. I don't know what you think, but he's handicapped.
No, I agree. I mean,
to win again now, because he won that one at, like I say, that big race off a marker 127. He's off a marker 130 now. So he's not far behind from where he was. Very well.
I think they'll go back. I think they'll go back to that Kempton race.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd be a bit wary of him before that, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Get there on the right mark.
There's one other race at Kempton. I think they run that at the end of just around Christmas time. And there's a free. That's nearly always soft ground at Christmas, isn't it? With all the rain and stuff that goes around. But if it was good ground, he won it with 5-star Getaway last year. Christian Williams, and fun enough, Kitty's Light was in that, and Captain Orr. So I can imagine they're the races he'd be tackling, Saturday races at Kempton or Ascot.
Yeah, definitely. And you're right, the phrase target trainer can be used for
very much so.
Yeah. Right, on to my second one. I'm going to go to the 211 at Aintree, which was the Grand Sefton over the big fences.
Okay.
Won by Al Dancer, which was so poignant, given the owner Di Walters and the
it was good, wasn't it? Yeah. So again, it was a lovely touch. What a finish with Geskill, and Henry Brook must have been gutted that he didn't quite get that up. I thought he had got it up, but obviously those two fought out the finish. Percussion third for Laura Morgan at 40-1. It was a great run. A huge gamble on Lifetime Ambition, but I'm going to the sixth horse here, Spirit of the Games. Now, I'm not having a go at Harry Skelton because I think this horse has to be ridden a certain way. However, I looked on in horror because I can't think of any race on the national fences that has ever been won with an exaggerated hold-up ride. You need to be Yeah, you've got to be handy because A, you've got the trouble in front of you, but B, they don't go very quick. So the horses tend to not tire. And you might pick one or two off, but he set himself an impossible task, Spirit of the Game. But given that, I actually think that horse ran well. He jumped well. It says weakened from the last, but I think he just used all his gas up, making his way on the heels of the leaders, and he ran out of gas after the last. But it was a good run. Now, he jumped well at Aintree, and I can see why they tried it. But for me, he showed that there's still a good race in this, and I actually think they'll go back to Cheltenham with him at the Christmas meeting or the New Year meeting when there's an ideal 2 mile 5 chase. So for me, on the surface, this, because it was well back, looked a disappointing run. But I just think he had no chance the way the race panned out. And he was just so far back. Now, Harry Skelton might say he has to be ridden like that. That may be true. But I wonder if there was a way where obviously you don't lead with him, but could he have got nearer earlier? You know? Yeah.
if you watch the replay, he is miles back at entry, and that's just, you can't be there and win these big races because you're going to have one or two that just don't stop, which is what happened with Al Dancer. So I do think the horse ran well, but everything was just against it. However, at Cheltenham, races do tend to fall apart. That's when you'll see him come flying through, and when that type of ride will be ideal. So I think they'll go back there, and I'm going to be backing him. Spirit of the Games.
Well, I think I should have a bit of a mastermind. You know, remember that, and your specialist subject is Spirit of the Games. I know this always like the back of my hand. I was like you on Saturday. I had it between him and Senior Citizen. Now that was he just sat on Senior Citizen all the way. The two of them were at the back. The horses with the most experience at the course just had no chance all the way through. He literally just sat on Senior Citizen. Well, I think there's definitely another day in that. Whereas, like you say, he's an old devil, Spirit of the Games, and that the race wasn't run to suit. He wasn't ridden to run to suit, but he is a bit of an old place monster, I would say. He's definitely all you'll have like 1 point win, 4 points a place on. I definitely agree with you with Cheltenham because he's got some great form around there in them big handicaps. He'll want them to go nice and hard, and for him to creep through. And I believe he went, when I was on one day, he went hundreds on and got beat round there. So he is one of them horses you've got to put an in-running lay on. But I can see where you're coming from.
I think that'll put him spot on to go back there. Yes,
I like to say, I can't remember what they call the Paddy Pal. They keep changing the blooming names of the races. But there's, like you say, there's one round Christmas time and there's another one in the November meeting. I doubt very much he'll run this week, but the one around Christmas time, I
think he'll run in the new year.
Yeah, there's one new year.
There
is a race in it
after that. Yeah,
he's well handicapped now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, so Spirit of the Games is my second one from Aintree. You close us with your final one, Judge.
Well, I always like to go a little bit left field, and I don't want these flat people to feel out of sync. Yeah. But I spotted one on the all-weather. That was on Wednesday evening. I must have been doing something well with my Wednesday evenings. The winner of the race was Dubai Leader, but there's two of them that kind of went really slowly from the front. He was in second, and he just quickened away and won quite comfortably. But if you watch the run back of a horse called Genesius, the Sir Mark Prescott horse, he was last turned into the home straight in a slowly run race, and he's ridden by a £7 claimer. And to be fair, it wasn't nothing wrong with the ride, but as he went for a gap between the 2 and the 1, and also at the furlong pole, he got stopped. And he ran on well and only got beat a length at the line. I reckon with a clear run, he would have given the winner plenty to do. Now, I can't see him going up at all for that run. He's proved there that he's definitely up to winning the race, and they were miles clear back to Koeman, who's a right old yardstick, rated 79 now. He could win nearly off that mark, and he beat that 2.5 lengths. And there was another 3.5 lengths back to the 4th. So as handicapping terms go, they were kind of well clear. The winner, like I say, was an improving 3-year-old. But Genesius, it's only had 10 starts. Doesn't look like the most winning type machine, but I do think there's a race around the all-weather, especially at Kempton, which they go slow, and then he comes through at the end. And I think there's a nice little 1.5 handicap in this. So keep your eye out for what's called Genesius.
For Sir Mark Prescott, I'm sure.
Yes.
He always likes a little caveat there. He always likes to have a winner on New Year's Day, Sir Mark. So always just what he's entered up New Year's Day. Likes to have a winner on New Year's Day. There you go.
Definitely. I mean, it's been running consistently of late, but I do think there's a win in this.
Yeah, that's like an anti-post tip, isn't it? New Year's Day.
Yes. Yeah.
Great stuff. So there you go,
Brilliant,
folks.
mate.
Put these in your tracker, and remember, we're trying to give you horses that have an angle for next time. Be they well handicapped, right ground, wrong ground, whatever. So these are 5 horses with an angle. So no Carlisle today, I'm afraid, but there's still a good meeting at Kempton, Judge. I believe you got a bet. You'll be glued to that. So
I will be, mate.
I've got Kempton.
I do like one there today, mate. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll be glued to that. So it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a great week, and Cheltenham at the end of the week, Judge.
Oh, come on.
Let's have it. So it's going to be great. We build to that, and then a monster weekend. So we'll see you on Friday. Have a great week, everybody. I'll see you on Friday. Good luck today, Judge.
All the best, mate. Be lucky.
Be lucky, everybody.
Holden.